Well guys, thank you for clicking on the video, and yet again we're in this spot that we were in a few months ago with trail damage. Obviously with the Pathfinder I annihilated the tranny off-road, just a lot of stress and strain. The GMT800, the Tahoe, is broke good, and so I'm going to talk about what I had planned for this, what I'm going to do to it, and how it is pretty damaged at this point. It's something that I could ordinarily do if I had shop space and things like that, but because I am in Las Vegas and commercial space is expensive, this is going to get complicated. So if you're a GMT800 fan, especially one that has one lifted or off-roads, it, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to show you what I did, and it ain't good. Stick around, you're watching Night Drive TV.
I always wanted to build fast cars, so self-taught I started with engine swaps, composites in my apartment to multiple shops, tuning, fabrication, and more. 10 years later, the big time, SEMA, Speed TV, I climbed from nothing, but I lost it all. This is my new ride, Night Drive TV.
Night drivers and drivettes.
So guys, I had been accumulating parts periodically over the past couple months just to kind of bring this vehicle up to the next level. So quick rundown if you haven't watched the channel before. This is a 2002 Z71 Tahoe. It's on kind of a drop bracket lift kit. Still has torsion bars up front, 35s, and not much, no re-gear or anything like that. Rooftop tent, basic lighting, nothing crazy. I do enjoy running this vehicle off-road. We have a lot of trails around Nevada, and if you watch the channel, Josh also has a 2004 Suburban. So we kind of been using these in a camping, overlanding, and a bit of a trail exploration type of deal. But inevitably, you know, when you off-road and you do trails and you really put these things through what we do, which is to really max out this platform, things are going to break. And so unfortunately something broke. But first let me tell you what parts I had for it. So I have the Atomic Fab coilover conversion kit for the torsion removal up front. I have Fox 2.0 shocks for the rear, so that's going to be going on, and eliminating the torsion bars and that exposure coming off of rocks and things was something I wanted to do, and I did want to improve the ride quality up front. Have a lot of lighting and things that I'm going to add, but what I have here and what's broken, let me show you. Okay, so reason I'm sitting by the tire is essentially what had happened. I took a day off from the headlight mayhem that I'm involved in, obviously fabricating these headlight kits for the Corvette, and I went up to this overlook. It was a couple thousand feet high. Did go through a pretty tough climb, got it up there, opened rooftop tent, was kind of chilling up there.
Whenever you're out here, the one thing is you're always being watched. They're watching me. Well, doing a little setup, a little chill time. I'm gonna sit up in there and eat my lunch. This was real sketchy to get up here. I'm just gonna tell you, it wasn't fun. Probably a little more side by side. This is a quarry over here. As you can see, Vegas down there. That's Lone Mountain right there, and right there. Lots of people hike up that. That's 3,500 feet. So I'm much higher than that, probably at 5. Surrounded by some crazy mountains. A little sketchy out here by yourself, just because of breakdowns and stuff. And then came back down, and it was a pretty steep descent. Well, about to go back down. This is about the only way out. Does not look steep on this camera, but I can tell you standing here, a lot of people don't want to go down this. So I think I'm gonna go over here, kind of head down straight that way. This is probably the sketchiest part. This is like side-by-side stuff, so if I go direct at it, I might slide a little bit, as long as I'm sliding that way. But yeah, we're gonna head out that way, then down around the mountain. That'll get us back out. Had some ram horns, you know, some ram horn sheep. They've been watching me. I've seen a few of them, but nobody watching me now, I don't think. But you look on these peaks, you'll see those bighorn sheep staring at you. They know what's going on down here, so head down that way. Should be fun. Doesn't look like anything on camera, but I kind of felt, you know, some, I don't know, typical off-roading G loads, but I heard a noise underneath that sounded kind of strange.
a tinging sound. I did get out of the vehicle, look at it, didn't see anything, so I continued driving. Then I went down into a wash off angle, kind of came up over a rock, and the steering locked in place. It wouldn't steer. And so I kind of went up to the side of this wash, backed up. Again, looked underneath, thought maybe I'd broken a tie rod end or something like that. Nothing like that. Looked around and just visually couldn't see anything. So I backed up, and when I backed up, the steering loosened up. So it was like when I unloaded it, and with the tie rods in obviously the trailing position, it seemed like it freed up. So turned down the wash, and I could feel that it was hanging up. So let me show you what happened.
Well, this is straight now, so it must have busted. Yeah, you can see it catches. It's got busted teeth in the gearbox, I guess, for the steering. So we're still going. Got a little ways back to society here, but it seems like it'll let me limp it home. So we're just going to be broke for a bit. You can see I got some problems, so you know.
So right here is my first indication of the problem. You can see that is pulled through the frame, and that is one of the mounting bolts for the steering box. So these are our mounting bolts for the steering box, and you can see that this one, there's a bit of angle here, but back here is the problem. You can see it's fully punched through. It broke and cracked right around the welds. Now you can see that my frame, this is a West truck in the West. I mean, we have no rust, anything like that, but basically all the torque is transmitted onto the bottom of this steering box, and you've got a lot of mechanism up above. So, you know, it's like I feel like some type of bracing up in here to keep this from torquing, but it basically pulled out the backside. So this is all going to have to come out. It's going to have to be welded and reinforced. And, you know, of course, I can do this job in normal circumstances, but because I'm in a driveway, yeah, it ain't good. So I had contacted Kryptonite, and Kryptonite makes a lot of steering components and things for these reinforced idler brackets, something like that, a stronger pitman arm, stronger outer tie rods, things like that. So I had contacted them thinking I had just a steering box failure and was going to get the blue top steering box and then some steering reinforcement parts. Well, for one, because of the supply chains and all these issues, they don't have parts available for about 8 to 10 weeks. But nothing broke there, so I figured I'll put the steering box in. So then I discovered this. So unfortunately, while Prime Weld had helped me out with a TIG welder, that's really more of a MIG type of job, and so I don't have a MIG welder. So this is going to put me in a kind of a decision phase. So what I kind of did in the immediate sense, because as you may know, if you watch the channel, we have 2 Corvettes in the C4, which I don't really drive, but they're all 2-seaters, so we don't have the capacity to get anywhere. So what I had replaced it with kind of quickly was this 2004 Suburban. Now, as you know, the used car market is like insane right now. I did not want to pay a bunch of money, so I picked this up for $3,000. Really wasn't wanting to do that, wasn't wanting to spend any of the money, but I picked this up. It's exhibiting some issues. It's a compromise in this market, and so it's got a bunch of problems, ABS lights. It's got some 4-wheel drive issues that I've seen. It seems to either be with the switch or the module that switches everything with the transfer case, some type of switch there. It's got some door dinging, some stuff, passenger door jar, dings, because I think there's a module in the door that's bad. So this gets me around and keeps it in line with the channel. This would be the future, I think, to have both of these. But unfortunately, I've got 2 not so good vehicles right now. So yeah, so I'm in a decision phase again that I kind of ended up in with the Pathfinder. I really love the Tahoe. I like it a lot more than the Pathfinder, to be honest with you. But, you know, I'm left with a decision because this is going to be a complicated fix. So not sure if there's any shops out there on the western side of the country that would be interested in kind of working with me or working with the channel. Obviously would prefer in Las Vegas, so there's some off-road places, but you know, it just seems like companies are not interested because the market is so abundant right now with car parts and things flowing. Lots of people have extra money and time somehow that they're just busy and doing well. So marketing isn't really valuable to many companies right now. So I really don't know what I'm going to do. I would look to anybody who is familiar with these vehicles to kind of give me a shout and throw a comment. Tell me, what would you do? Would you fix this thing? Would you get rid of it? Would you buy something else? Would you abandon GMT800s altogether and get Jeeps? Maybe I should stick to Corvettes. I don't know. But I really do love the Tahoe. And but of course, you know, that's the nature of the game, off-roading, you put these components through a lot of stresses. Obviously, it's a heavy vehicle. That rotating mass and the size of 35s and the amount of grip you get from 12.5 inches of width, obviously it's going to put tremendous strain on steering components and things like that. So it is just the nature of the game. Obviously, I used to have many shops, and I used to tell all my customers, don't modify your daily driver. It's advice that I would give them and I would never take for myself because I just like things modified. And you know, but this is why people build trail rigs and have street rigs and stuff like that. And you know, that's a financial challenge. Obviously, I don't have much space here in Las Vegas because you just don't get a lot of space out here. It's you know, it's expensive. So I don't know, guys. Hopefully I put out this video. I'm putting out videos every day because SEMA is coming, and I'm going to be checking out a lot of different equipment and new products. But I have heard that SEMA is going to be very different this year. We have international issues with people flying here. A lot of companies backed out. So I'll give you guys the best I can in terms of off-road content, overland parts and products, and then we will show every Corvette at SEMA, every Supra at SEMA. I'm just basically going to do it that way. So you're going to see a lot of videos on the channel. So if you haven't subbed already, I'd appreciate it. Give me a comment, guys. What would you do with this thing? I do love it. Lace loves it. We love driving around in it. I have no problem putting some type of investment into it because I would keep it long term, certainly. But you know, with these vehicles, you have to think about tranny, longevity. You have to think about all these steering and suspension components. So, you know, at some point you're going to get way beyond what the vehicle's worth. But it's not worth much sitting there with steering broken. So, you know, I can MIG weld it. I can kind of obviously put a plate reinforcement, cut a plate, put it over, kind of do that number. That's probably the approach I'm thinking, but if you guys know about something, please let me know. So I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one.